Okay, so I've been up for, not up, but awake for a really long time. It was weird too, because in the middle of the night, I was just like awake and this weird stuff kept happening. I was like, this is weird. And then all of a sudden I remembered, like, oh, all those planets were going into alignment. Was that tonight or was that tomorrow night? And because there's always, when there's these atmospheric alignments of energy, it always creates weird things in our atmosphere, our world. Just some people don't notice it, but anyways, I was like, it's so weird. And so I was laying there, and I couldn't go to sleep. And then, and I was listening to Stella, and she was just snoring away. And she must have been having a dream, because all of a sudden she just woke up and she freaked out. And she like went into a panic, and she started like, she had to see me and stuff. So I was like, man, did you have a bad dream or something? She was freaking. And so I came out to get her some medicine, and I saw it was like around 3, I think, 3:15 or something. And so I was like, fuck, man, I gotta get back to sleep. And then, so I was in there, and then she was pacing around. She was going on nutty. And I was just like, Stella, please, I have got to go to sleep. And she just went and laid down and went back to sleep. And then I just kept laying there and thinking and talking. And then all of a sudden she started puking. And I swear it was right as I was getting to where I felt like I was going to doze off or something. I might have even just been starting to. And all of a sudden she started puking. And I was like, and I'm so on edge about her health right now anyways. I mean, she's eating, and she just looks like she gets skinnier and skinnier. And so I jumped up and ran over there, and I had got her some of these bones, and it said that they're fine for dogs or whatever, that they're healthy or whatever. And so I had given her, so she keeps being like starving all day. It's weird. And she's constantly going in the kitchen and going up the fridge and hitting it, like telling me like, I need some food. And so I had gotten those bones, and so I gave her one, and she had it was a pretty big one, and she was just enjoying the shit out of it. Every time it wasn't in her sight, she started crying like a little bitch. And so I, when I went to clean up the puke, it was all bone shards, just tons of, like she had eaten broken glass. I was like, well, how in the fucking hell is that safe for dogs? You said right on the packaging. So I'm going to throw the other one away if I have more of them. But I don't know if she just wasn't able to digest it today, because that's not the first one she ate. But when she was eating, I kept thinking, does that stuff dissolve in their stomach? Like, it seems like she's swallowing chunks of it. So I don't know, maybe just because she's a big dog, she has to have a way bigger one. Maybe a little tiny dog takes little tiny nibbles. I don't know, but they're big old freaking bones. So I don't know. I thought it would seem safe, but that also seems to be bothering her stomach. So I jumped up and got up and came out. It was like 4:30. I was like, oh, motherfucker. So I was like, okay, whatever. I was going to stay up. And so I went and took a shower. My hair is actually wet. The vinegar thing, yesterday I was watching the playback. I didn't even finish watching it. But I was like, man, my hair looks totally greasy. And then my daughter's going to be coming next weekend, which is the weekend we're all supposed to be boycotting. But it's a 3-day, long weekend. And so she's going to come over and see me. And so I'm going to be like, no, don't come. We're boycotting. I was just like, okay, well, we're here. We just will, even if we go for a drive and drive around and stuff, then I think we'll still, boycott restaurants and gas stations and stuff, I guess, during that time. Because I do want to, also make an impact. I mean, we got to unify somehow. And if it's just boycotting on certain days, buying things, then, I mean, at least it's something. So, anyways, I was like, well, I'll try the vinegar thing while she's here. And then I'll see, like, if it looks dirty, like if you're standing in person by me, if it looks really dirty, or if it's just like the shine off of the mirror that I'm picking up, or off of the camera from the lighting. So, because it's weird, because like these girls with this really curly hair, they'll wash their hair with it and they're putting oil into their hair. They're putting jojoba oil or jojoba or whatever, and coconut and stuff. So, I mean, they're even adding oil in, just using vinegar to wash their hair. So, I don't know, but I was like, well, I'm just gonna do a maybe like once every few days or something. I used to be able to not wash my hair for like 4 days and you couldn't tell. And now it's like every day. And there is something different, weird about time, I keep thinking, even in the middle of the night when I'm awake. I'm like, I feel like I got to get up and cook dinner. I'm so hungry. Like, this seems like it's been days we've been laying in here. And then also that makes me think that could also be why she's hungry, because something about time, it's more stretched out than we realize, because we're just going, I don't know. I don't know how they mess with it all, but I sure am being shown a lot of stuff. And I don't know how to even explain some of it, because I mean, I can try and explain it. The whole thing is when I explain it, I can't explain what I'm seeing. And when I say the words, it's going to set, people will translate it into 3-dimensional. It won't make as much sense. But I'm still going to say it because I feel like some people will hear it and it will make sense, and they'll see it and they'll see what I'm seeing. And then others, it could plant a seed. But like I said, I don't know. Maybe I'm, don't know shit. Nerdy white guy, I saw him. I mean, I saw him about 100 times because he's in some beefs. And so he's doing these video responses nonstop all day long with these beefs. I got up this morning. He's already started. It was like he'd just done one. It was 26 minutes and it was already beefing. So he's got some. But I think he brings it on himself. I think he goes into people's stuff and he just starts going, like, whatever information I'm putting out there, he'll go and try and shut mine down. Like, dude, don't do that. Just keep focused on your information. Keep putting yours out. Don't go in and try and infiltrate and get in everybody's business and shut them down and tell them no, that you're right. Like, there is all information. Every soul has to hear everybody's information and decipher things for themselves. That's the problem with this information war, is they're trying to restrict our information, restrict our knowledge, restrict our memory, restrict what we remember in our soul, because it's all different things. But I saw him again. He's really on this because whatever he's got beef going now with this melanin stuff, and people saying he's racist and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know the whole conversation, the whole drama. I just keep seeing ones pop up with these little snippets. But again, with this neuromelanin, you may want to look into it. You might find some information about it. It seems to go something with the past. But the whole thing, to me, what I keep picking up on when I'm going in and I'm watching this altered history and stuff like that, it is periods of time, I think, that we go into incarnate. I don't, like I've said so many times, I don't think it is like a cohesive thing. Like, kind of like when you see what they did, if you watch the footage of the State Fair Chicago 1829 or something like that, and they even will go through and show you all these architects and stuff that supposedly built all of these buildings that were so elaborate, and it took them years to build, and they were so elaborate, but then they're going to tear them down overnight and cover things with concrete, like all sorts of weird stuff. And then they had some big fire, and just luckily the newspaper was the only thing that survived, or some weird thing like that. Like, it is always them surviving, because they're always the one who are creating it, because it's like a change of scene. It's like, okay, well, we had all of this experience, now we're just gonna wipe this one out, change the scene. And kind of, it like, if you think about a reality or a realm, and that this one is so not just guarded, I was hearing, but it is so observed, yes, but it's so monitored, or it is very controlled. Everything is so controlled. And that is where I get this idea of it's kind of like a training center or something. But it's not like new souls. It's not like all of a sudden, because new souls are energy that has not understood itself as a consciousness yet. Like what I talk about with the free energy that's around us and how energy will attach to you if you're putting out a certain vibration. All of those energies out there that have, I mean, it's all energy, but it hasn't become to a consciousness state to go in and incarnate. It hasn't even gotten to a development of understanding itself. So you see how a soul, it's like a progression, just like I've said about everything is a progression. Everything is a growth. Just like we want to think just about our life being the only thing, but we are attached to the whole thing. It's like if you took an is it the flowers that grow back all the time are annuals? So if you took the original one and then all of the ones that come out from it, all of the ones that grow from it, that blossom from this original one, I think it's even what is that word? I keep al it's like a ALZ or something. It kind of flowers, but they'll have one and then they will bear, but like what I was talking about with the ferns too. And ivy, there's a lot of things that come and it will have the one and it will go out from it, because that is what the whole thing is with your life. It is the life that branches out from this life. That's why every time when we're coming in, we're trying to fix things and do things and learn things and expand. So because we are connected to the very beginning and moving out from there as souls, which is separate from the realities that we come into. There's a complete separation. Our souls have a separate existence outside of this existence. This existence is like, if you think of a soul being like a circus wagon, just going out and going around and doing a performance or something. And then each of the different realities it can go to, like the tents that it would be set up to go in and have those experiences. Like you're not stuck just going to one, although I think in this one, that is what has happened with this control, how they have trapped some souls in their reincarnation recycle or something by putting pressure on them to come and stay. So I think they've gotten like and maybe that is why they're trying to say like, oh, we're going to kill a lot off, give them an opportunity. They get a chance. They can go, incarnate somewhere else. But, that's on that other level. That's on that fourth, fifth, or whatever. It's the game that's being played above our heads that we don't understand. So because we're so focused on this is just the awakening from this. And so the souls that come into this is, it's like a school, like a training center. Just think about the things that were taught and shown. Like they teach you every little thing. And I think it's about this reality is it has to have like this training, but think of the out of balance for how much training there is. So I don't know, there's a lot to this whole system that we are presently in as a part of like the soul. There's a reason why souls come into this. But like I said, I don't think that it is like it leads from it's more of abrupt jumps like than we think. We think like everything just bleeds into the next thing, like each decade, each generation or something, but there is more of a, stop and clear the stage and let's put a new one up and let's, reset. And that's what we're doing again right now. And that's why they keep using those words, reset. But we've had these resets over and over and over and over. It's like change the stage, so souls have a new place to go. And it's the souls that put out what it is that they want, where it is they want to go, and what they want to go and experience. So we are the creators. And it's so crazy because we are the creators of the stories that are in the books. All the stories that are told, we are the creators of them. There's nothing that is created without us creating it. And so when you think about, like this morning, when I went in to take a shower, I was in there and I was like washing my hair. I was under the water, and this spasm thing on it's right, like right there. You just touch it. It just like shoots this pain. I really wish I could get it to calm down. I wish you could just poke it and it would just, but you can rub it, you can poke it, you can put cream on it. It's like, it's pissed. So I was in there and I was standing there letting the water go on it, trying to relax it. And I all of a sudden had a vision, and I was I was dressed, I looked like a cowgirl. I looked similar to how I look like myself to me. When I saw myself standing there, I look like me, like real exact, like I would think I would have been like within 5 years or something of this time. I didn't look very different, but I was dressed like real Western style but I had pants on and a hat, but I was headed out. Like everything was open, and then I was like, oh my God, what in the hell are you guys showing me? Is this like, are you serious? We gotta go through this to the point where it's really gonna be like us having to go out like sellers or something? Like, what the hell are you showing me? But the thing that they keep showing me is, and this is the thing that is hard to explain, but so if you think about, for one thing, think about that movie with Bruce Willis where he keeps going and putting those goggle things on, and then he goes into another world or virtual world, but it feels like a real world because the humans have become so sick that they can no longer go out and live their life, so they create a virtual world so they can go in this virtual world and live. And and that is taking your consciousness and trapping it, taking that step, because you already are an avatar. So your avatar is creating an avatar. Like, it makes no sense. But that's part of the trick. That's part of the deception that they create here with life and death and deities and all their stuff that they create here. So, and everybody who's here believes it. Like, trying to get somebody to stop believing what they are told here, ugh. It's like, oh my gosh. It is seriously like getting somebody from a cult who has gone through this programming, and then you try and talk sense to them, and they can't. It just goes back. It just, the record is imprinted. So anyways, so kind of like that whole thing with that. But then if you think of consciousness, so if you think of the universe, and you think of it as like a big giant bubble, just a huge bubble. And it's funny because right now on the thing, there's jellyfish going through the water. Everything represents things so much. And it's the movement and the water and the color and everything is that. But if you went out and it's all things are that. So if everything could fit into the jellyfish, it would be the jellyfish going through the water. But everything as it expands will go down to a jellyfish going in the water. If that makes sense. Like, the evolution of things is the going from micro to macro, or macro going either way, because this just goes in a circle. It just keeps going. So it just is, and it all is this movement and stuff. It's like in a shell, how it twists. Oh, and you know what? Nerdy white guy, he got up and he drew some drawings, and then he said, this is what I see in my head all the time, and everywhere I look I see these things. And it was like the inside of a shell, which is the movement, that is the universe, it is the expansion, it is as the thing goes down, how you can look. It is like those where I was showing that one night, the stars, when I was watching one of these go to sleep videos, and it was doing the stars, and they started moving and they start spinning, and it creates that whole, that is the whole thing, that is everything in movement. But so, okay, if you think of the consciousness and you put it down to one jellyfish, the one jellyfish that would be our whole entire solar system. But remember what I said yesterday, that the ocean would be full of more jellyfish, which would be a whole entire another solar system that would have all its planets and all its souls and stuff. So it's ever expansive. But if we took our solar system of all of the planets that they say that have to do with our existence, and we put everything inside the jellyfish, and the jellyfish was moving, all consciousness, all colors, everything was moving. And then it can stretch out. I see it like in the vision, how they show me like from a movie of, and I've seen it, but I don't know what movies, but I would imagine that we've all kind of seen this in movies. So and probably in like ghost movies or something, maybe 13 Ghosts. But so if you had the consciousness all in there, and it is all of these different all of these different beings, all of these different, like I would be a being. I would be something that was inside. So all of the consciousness, if we all come together as one thought, as one thing. But how many times in your brain do you have those one thought or one thing? You've got sparking, like it's just, you've got all stuff going on in there. It's what you focus on. It's what you think about. It's where you put your mind. So you've got all of that going because of micro, macro. And so the consciousness of all things is like that. It's all of us just buzzing and buzzing and buzzing, right? And so it's this movement and expansion. And so I kind of see like Kelly coming out. Like if you think of it like a bubble, those big giant bubbles that you can do in the thing, and you put them out and it's that huge bubble, and it's those iridescent kind of colors, and it kind of, especially if you get that big ring and you do one of those and it goes out and it starts moving and it has those colors and stuff. Well, if you picture that, only you picture different consciousness trying to come out and create itself out of there. So that is the consciousness that creates all things. So I have pulled out of that consciousness, and it's like, boop, put yourself into a reality to create a being that is a part of all things. So like the woman, like I've said before, like when I was out there doing something, things I didn't know about building, and all of a sudden I feel like I turned into some Amish man or something. Some man, I would even see my hands and stuff look like somebody else's. It's those consciousness. Like sometimes I feel like I can tap into all sorts of consciousness that can just, where people would think like, oh, you're being, what is that called when you are, what do they call it? Like they want you to get an exorcism, possessed or something. Like you could think for a second, I'm possessed by another soul because they're showing me, but I'm a part of that soul. So they're not possessing me. I'm a part of the consciousness. I'm tapping into that consciousness, just like the lady that they showed me. Like, I don't know if that was a forewarning, like, Kelly, this is going to go on some time. We're going to go through some hunger stroke. We're going to go through some shit. And you got to be prepared. Like, I don't know. But whatever it was, it definitely gave me the feeling like, you got this, girl. I didn't at all feel like scared or intimidated. I mean, that could be that consciousness coming in to give me that, like, don't stress it. You got it. Because they're constantly communicating with us. We are pulling out from that bubble all the time, but we're still a part of that bubble no matter what. And the whole thing is you get yourself into a life, and that is part of this system. What I think is the problem here with the disease system that has become so corrosive to the entire solar system. And I forgot to say the other day when I said about the nuclear thing, because that is the only thing I've ever heard that can actually end energy, is the nuclear thing. And that is why they won't let him do it. They won't let him, if they try and do any kind of nuke thing, beings come in ships and stuff and fly over it and just not detonate it, make it not be able to charge. And I heard that's what happened in the Hawaii situation. I don't know for sure, but that's what I heard, that there was some sort of, they were doing the missile and a ship flew over it and did something to it and made it either fall in the water or whatever it did. I don't know, but I know that that happens consistently, that they won't let nukes go off because that is how you can actually damage a soul. But anyway, so if you go up to that state of mind, and see, that might be beyond what anybody can even understand. The things that I get shown may be way beyond what people can even understand, comprehend, or care about, of what they are and who they are and what they're doing here. Because I see things, like I've said for such a long time, I see things so far beyond other people's comprehension of what things are and how things work. And what's weird too is I keep seeing these girls on TikTok, and they keep putting like all sorts of things, like, I don't know, paperclip, a bobby pin, all sorts of things right here, and it sticks. And they keep saying when your third eye is open, it becomes magnetic. And so I was like, well, that's weird, because I don't ever have anything stick to me like that. And I know mine's open. Mine's never been closed. Which, I'll tell you another thing about that too, is, I had just seen a video thing talking about this. I think I've seen more than one, but when we were kids and we, I remember learning about the right hand, left thing. I think seemed like it was around 5th or 6th grade when they were doing all these tests and stuff. It might have been 2nd or 3rd. I don't remember. I just remember being in a class and them doing it and me being like, oh, some people can write with the other hand. And I was like, oh, some people can write with both? Well, I'm going to write with both. And I was very motivated to write with both. I've always, I can't write it as this exact same, but I can definitely write. And I can do all sorts of things with my left hand. It's not as strong as my right hand, but it definitely, it's usable. I can do a lot of stuff with it. And, but the thing I had just seen about it is the reason why they do that is because they wanted, and they used to be really hard, but I think that maybe they just started getting to the point of watching them. Because remember, they watch, they monitor, they keep track of who's what and, who does what and who's on what, all of that stuff. So, but they used to get everybody to be right-handed. They want everybody to be right-handed because then you use the left part of your brain. You don't use the creative side, the more open side to your spirit. So they try from the beginning of school to cut that part out. And see, and I was guided to learn to do both, which I believe kept both sides open, because I've always, oh God, it just never stops. I've never felt like my third eye was closed. Like I've always been in a fantasy world, able to shift in and out of reality. So I don't know. I didn't realize what I was doing then, but so I don't know. I think my third eye has always been open and it doesn't have any magnet. I saw a guy this morning talking, and he was talking something about somebody who used to put a magnet, some doctor or scientist or something, and would put a magnet on his head every day for hours or something to open his third eye. And then he started seeing demons or something. So I'm not sure. I don't understand all of this stuff because I don't have a magnetic thing. And like nerdy white guy, like I see those things everywhere, and I see, it depends on your fear of what you think you're seeing. If you think you're seeing demons, but that's just third dimensional idea to me. So anyways, I don't know about this whole thing with the magnetic third eye thing, but nothing sticks to mine, and I've felt like mine was always open. So I don't know. But I thought that was interesting about the it was important for us to learn to be ambidextrous, to keep that, because they just focused on that side. That's how they've indoctrinated so much, to get us to doubt ourselves. It's so crazy because the stuff I had just been saying when I was watching that video, because I told you, it always, they'll tell me stuff, they'll show me stuff, it'll make sense to me. And then they always bring me more stuff afterwards. Like the video I saw, the guy was explaining exactly what I had just been talking about. And so I was like, oh, see, well, it's not like, see, I knew it, because the only reason I know it is because they tell me. But when they tell me and they show me, I see it and I do know it. But I also know that you're only going to know what you can understand, what you can know. So not everybody's going to understand what I understand, but, I can't say that I am like more advanced than somebody, because this is all about awakening. This is remembering who you are. So there's tons of people that are, we're all the same. We all come from the same places. So it's awakening to who you are. It's just that there's things that they did to purposely shut you down, shut you off. And that is what I'm trying to say. And I don't know when people actually, if it really is like it's just starting like to heat up and work and it gets magnetized or something. I'm not sure. And I'm not sure, like you can't even be able to understand what another consciousness is experiencing, how they're understanding and perceiving the world. So it isn't really something that we need to worry about or thinking about or whatever. But anyways, the whole thing where they kept showing me like this conscious bubble, just like the bubble that you blow out there, going through the air, and the way it moves, only if it's different energies trying to come out and create an experience to go in. And so see, like the contracts, like I think there's a part of us where we go out and we create worlds just like this. We go into other worlds that don't have the limitations that this one does, the control this one does. So we go and we actually can live in a place where you would probably be like, consider like heaven, a place where it's just very open and there is, learning and people and contact. It's like a beautiful place to be. But then you can always go to other places. But then you can always go into this mass consciousness. But this mass consciousness is the brain bubble that surrounds us, that we are inside of. So even if you go out of, it's still this consciousness that's around us. All the consciousness that isn't in an experience that is attached to this system, no matter what. So, I don't know if that makes sense, but, I can see it. I would say, if you're trying to understand what I'm saying and you don't, like, maybe you try like to meditate or something on it, like close your eyes and think about it and let them show you what they want you to understand. And believe you me, they're not going to just tell you every single thing just because you want to know. There's lots of stuff. It's like a need to know basis. They're not going to tell you something unless you need to know it. And then it's always trippy too, because sometimes they tell you stuff where you're like years later, you're like, why do I need to know this? Why would you tell me this? And why would you tell me this like 10 years early? So, and I don't know, like I said a long time ago, things just started coming together to me where all of the puzzles started making sense, clear, all just like the ambidextrous thing, all of the things that go way back, where what they were telling me and where they were guiding me and what they were having me do. And I know that has to do with the life that I came in to lead or live, with all of the traumas and all of the problems that I had to go through, that I came in to do that, to heal, so that I could come in and talk about it and help others heal. Like, that is my mission. That is, and it is a karmic debt. Is it something that I had done previously? And so now I've got to come in and make, what is that called when, in the Catholic thing? not abolish, but when they go into penance or something, like you have to put things back into balance, kind of, if you get what I mean. But there was, let me see, I wrote a couple of things down because I had so many things going through my head. It was like, oh my God, I will not be able to remember all this. Let's see, but there was this yesterday. So this is a story, but I don't have all the facts, so it's not like a very in-depth story. But the story isn't as much of the point as I have another point about the story. So anyways, there's going to be parts of the story that are going to seem kind of left out, but I don't have all the facts. I don't know the whole story. And so, you know, my friend, the medium, who I had talked to, it was right after I had gotten, my dad had just died, and I had just split up with my husband, and there was just some weird stuff happening, just weird stuff. And I was like, oh, this seems like my dad seems like he's all in this. So I wanted to talk to the medium and have her talk to my dad. And so when she did, that's when I found out he was in like that purgatory place, and he was having a lot of problems. He was holding on to a lot of anger and resentment and stuff like that. He was still super confused. So, and you can't just go right into regular vibration, high vibration, where we all exist in a more pure state, like the heavens. Then you can't just go in there and take your toxic shit. So you have to stay in like a like a purgatory, an area to get yourself back to a level that you can re-enter society. It's kind of, that's probably why they developed a prison system. They're like, oh, well, it works out there, so let's just try and do it here. But they just use everything to, I mean, it could have had good intentions in the very beginning, but it turned into something toxic because greed and power and all of those things that come into play. And that is a little bit about what my story too. So, but when I was talking to her, you know, and that's when I found out that my grandpa, who had died when I was little, I was so devastated and so heartbroken. But that's when I found out he's one of my main guides. And that is also over the past few years where I started getting visions where he was, I'm positive he was my dad, but he was the chief of the tribe. He was an Indian chief. And I see him up there talking to me. So, and I have all of this stuff. Like, I know a lot of stuff that I talk about. Like, I know it comes from that kind of philosophy, like Native American nature and spiritual and stuff. And so, anyways, I was just fascinated to find out that he was such a watcher over me and keeper over me. And my grandparents are around me all the time. They're always watching, like they were saying stuff when, because I got to talk to my grandpa and both my grandmas. So that was super cool. And then, and it's trippy too, because when you have a medium, they will be telling you stuff that they don't know about, but you know about, but they don't know about with these other people. And so it's really is cool. So anyways, my family had known about that. Like I've talked about it and stuff. And so my daughter had messaged me a couple weeks ago and said one of her friends at work's daughter was murdered and she's really, really struggling. And do you think Jessica would talk to her and do a reading with her? And I was like, oh yeah, for sure. Jessica would do that because she is, she really cares about that kind of stuff, about people, when the people pass and the people get so upset and they don't realize that the person's right there with them. And so she said that she would do it. And so yesterday was the thing, but I guess there was already stuff leading up to it where setting up to the appointment where Jessica had called her and was already telling her, the daughter was already coming to talk to Jessica and was telling her things and telling her, she was giving her a name and stuff. And she said that, so like in Hostel, where they put out those bait chicks to get, oh yeah, we'll show you around. We want to party. Let's hang out. But they really just roofie them and then get them out there in the, where you don't want to be as a victim to torture or whatever. So then they have these girls. I mean, even when you watch the trials of the island trials, that what they do is they get, however, they abuse these girls and then they turn them into bait chicks. So, and they would use them as bait chicks to get other little kids, all sorts of stuff. But anyways, this girl got taken by a bait chick. And I don't know for sure, and the bait chick is the name of the person who Jessica started saying to her is the name of the bait chick that her mom had already heard about. Like, she'd already heard this name and already suspected that this girl had brought her into some sort of situation. And that's where I'm going to say that there's going to be holes in the story, because I don't know the story. I don't know. All I had heard was about this name and about this girl being the one who drew her in. And so she was with this guy, and it seems like they were, it seems kind of like where you think of a bait chick pulling you in and setting you up with this guy who's going to do something great for you, but really the guy just beats the snot out of you and starts trafficking you. That's what I kind of got the feeling, but I don't know the story, so I don't know. But that's kind of where my head was going as usual. So whatever happened, it seems that she was involved with this guy pretty heavily. So if it was her boyfriend, if it was her pimp, if it was her trafficker or whatever he was a bad guy. And he murdered her. And the mom's been struggling because I think the murder happened in January. It happened this year. And so the mom's been struggling and having a hard time. And so Jessica went and gave her all sorts of information. And it was all stuff that the lady already knew. This is what I keep trying to get to. Because I even told this to my daughter when we were having this conversation, because my daughter was like, oh my gosh, Mom, she said that this was stuff she knew, and Jessica was giving her confirmation because she said that she's sure that someone keeps talking in her head, but she feels like she's maybe going crazy. And I said, that is what I keep trying to tell you and tell people. There is people talking all the time, but people dismiss it. They think, oh, I'm going crazy and I'm going to go crazy. And they dismiss it. They think it's their thoughts. They don't tune in and listen like, what? What did you just say? Well, wait a minute. Why'd you say that? Well, what about this? They don't do that. They just think shots are fired. They think thoughts are firing off in their head. And they don't realize, no, there's actual communication trying to occur that you are blocking because you think that it is your own thoughts and it doesn't exist. So anyways, when I got to tell her that, and she was like, she completely got what I was saying. I said, you know what I'm finding super exciting about all this is that you are starting to understand that you have a soul and that there is a consciousness around us, that this is real, that I'm not making this shit up. And she goes, you're right, I am. And it's weird. And because she was very science, you die, you go in the dirt, you're gone. Mom, quit trying to make it into something different. And so she's starting to understand now, because that's how the universe works. It's going to keep showing you and showing you. But it depends on what you're here to learn. Like, not everybody was here to learn. Like, you better become ambidextrous. So, anyways, back to the story. So the woman, she got to talk to Jessica, and she got a lot of good information. And I got to hear some of it. But Caleb was going to hear more about it today at work. So she was going to hear more of what the lady said that Jessica had said to her. And so she was going to tell me more. But the lady was super excited and felt really good. And the daughter was telling her that she was there with her. She was talking to her all the time. The daughter knew she was. The mom knew she was, but she thought she was going crazy. But that she is there talking to her. She is telling her things. And she's, the mom said, well, did she feel it? Does she remember what happened? I guess, I don't know how she was murdered or anything like that. I don't know if it was brutal or any of that stuff. But the daughter said, no, I just remember I was blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden I was someplace peaceful. And I told my daughter, I said, that is 100% true. People who, everybody gets caught up in like, oh my God, this horrible thing happened to them. Oh, they must have suffered the pain and suffering. But you don't stay there. Your consciousness leaves. It's all just part of the show. Your consciousness leaves and goes. Your consciousness doesn't stay for the traumatic part of death. There's only a few that ever do, and I've never heard their stories, but it's very uncommon. Most people leave as soon as the bad stuff starts happening. They just leave. It's kind of like go unconscious and go into another state. Like I said, it's like you walk right out. You walk right out of this reality and you walk right into another one. It is not like anything other than that. You don't stop being. And so, it was just so exciting too to keep getting to make more points to my daughter for her to understand, and that she's getting it from other people now. And so, but so as the story goes, she was a big sister, like right after she got out of high school. She's always been, like I said, very driven. Like there's no accident that she is so high up in her job, like immediately out of college and stuff. Like she's very driven. And like there is nothing stopping her. And so she was a big sister to this little girl. And so right when this is going on, so her friends messaging her, texting her about what's happening with Jessica. The little sister messages her and says that she's having a really hard time because her friend was just murdered. Her friend was 20 years old. So Caleb, of course, she starts going and investigating. That's how she is. She's going to start looking stuff up, finding out who is this person, what happened, and so it was a 20-year-old girl who was murdered by the same fucking guy. The same fucking guy. Like, what the hell? When she was sitting there telling me this, I was like, what the hell? So she's talking to the mom whose daughter was murdered a few months back, and she's talking to the medium. And then her friend messages her, and he just murdered her friend. They're not even in the same, it's not like that is a small world. Like, what the fuck? So I was like, oh my God. And she goes, oh my gosh, this is so weird. Like, the one girl was 26, the other girl's 20. So, and how many people has he killed altogether? And so and he's taunting the mom right after he killed the daughter. He even started calling her. So he's taunting the mom. He's showing up at her house. He's trying to intimidate her. To me, this is where, oh, hell no. I would take action. In this situation, 100% I would take action. Like, this is not something that you just... So I was like, well, this is so weird. So he's harassing the mom. He's intimidating her. He's showing up, staring her down. Like, he's trying to make sure she knows he will kill her. And I was like, well, why didn't she just kill him? Like, what the fuck? And why don't these girls come together, like these moms come together and try and get him arrested? And he's connected. So it's always the criminals, like I said, they go out and they find criminals to do their dirty work, and then they keep them, in a safety zone so that the criminals can just do worse and worse. The criminals get their egos, so I can just kill this, or I can just do this, I can just do that, just taking young girls' lives just because he can. That is where I was like, oh my gosh, this is where I would coax him out somewhere. I would hire a sniper. I would become a sniper. I'd go learn how to shoot. I would do something. I wouldn't be terrorized by this guy who is above the law and is obviously a sociopathic serial killer. So, God. So anyways, I was just like blown away at the what a small world. Like that to me just blows my mind. That you would have two different friends who both had somebody murdered close to them with the same murderer. It's like, what the fuck? So, and that could be because, Caleb is supposed to motivate her to do something, or maybe she's going to help them both. Maybe she's going to tell him. Maybe she's going to be the one who connects them so that they can come together and fight for justice. Like, this is insanity. Like, in the world, it is just this out of control. Like, with the greed and stuff. This guy back here, the developer that I'm just whining and bitching about nonstop, who just burns all day long, just guts the forest, then piles it all up, probably takes the good trees, takes them down to the lumber thing and gets his money. And then he burns all of the, I think it's called slash or something. It's all in the forest. There's just so much forest debris. But, if you're going to be some all highfalutin developer, then you should have to do something else besides poison us all with the smoke. So this is fucking bullshit nonsense. And the fire department has gone by, the sheriff's gone by for other things. They don't give a shit. You pay, you have money, you can do whatever the fuck you want. And so, and they popped up a house overnight. There was a new house blocking, and I was like, oh my God, that would suck. Because it is like the people across the street from me, it's like in their backyard. It's like right up against them. Now they've got these houses going up, so it interferes with their view of the mountain. Now they get to see somebody's house. And so what's irritating to me is, so you have these cities where, and developers, they buy those and stuff like that, but they even go out further and start buying because they know it's going to move out. So they go out and they buy some big patch of land so that they can hold on to it. Then, it's padding pockets and stuff to get things zoned to where you can break it down to how much you can break it into pieces. So when you've got money and you're part of the system, and then you can go out and you can buy large plots of land, and then you can break it down to tiny little lots and sell the lots. And then he's even putting up their matchstick houses because, you can make so much money off of throwing these houses up, painting them a pretty color, and then, you make way more money than just selling off the lots. But at first there was just lots for sale. When I first moved in, there was just some lots for sale. So I thought it was going to be like a few houses like this. I had no idea that it was going to turn into, he's going to build a whole neighborhood next to our neighborhood, that they have to go through our neighborhood to get into their neighborhood, that they would gate off and separate us from the hill. Like, the whole thing is just such bullshit. And so they come out, they decide where we're going to live, how we're going to develop, where we're going to, they are in control of how neighborhoods are planned or whatever. And it's not just like happening, like all of us going out and we're just building our own houses and scooting up next to each other. They're doing that to us on purpose so they can make money because they're so busy trying to sell the earth to us. So in this case, he is throwing these houses up. They've got the street, they've got a lot of stuff going on at once. So it's just explosions, just so much stuff going on. It's fucking ridiculous. You're out here where it's supposed to be peaceful in the woods, and we've got this, like, you sound like you're in downtown New York, jackhammers and shit. So this guy, he's pretty spread out and what he's got going right now, like houses going up, foundations, more roads and stuff. So, and that's why the two of them were out there, smacking each other's ass with excitement the other day. And so the thing is so he's got all of this money out there, whatever money he's got invested, however the banks, they have certain ways when you have a lot of money, how they let you go and buy it just because you have money there. So I think Donald Trump has talked about that a lot with the business thing and how you can, all you got to do is have this money. You don't have to take it and go spend it. You just got to say, oh, I've got this, and they'll let you buy this. So it is things that they get to do, but they keep us at a level that makes it hard for us to do. So they do these things that seem like, just like when I said I wanted to buy the lot next to me, and it's like, well, you can't do that. The bank won't let you buy the lot next to you. You have to pay cash. And, but he can go out and buy a giant plot and then divide it into the lots himself. It's fucking bullshit. And so the thing where I am the hand of God, is that when the banks crash, like, I know a lot of people are so scared. Oh, the banks are going to crash because they're so sure that that's the only way to survive is off this fucking credit system that they developed to trap us as slaves. So when it crashes and it takes away the debt, because it's like the banks will go bankrupt. They can't get money from us. They have been doing illegal practices and it's been against human rights. So they're going to crash, and everything that we owe will then go to zero. So none of us will owe anything to anybody. So and houses are going to go way down. So right now, he's trying to develop these houses, whatever money he's putting into them. Say he's putting in $150,000 because he already bought the land. He's had the land for however long. Now that people are moving out from the city is when the developer steps in like, oh, here, I got a place for you. So he's the one who, it's bullshit. It's so manipulative. And so when the banks crash, so if he's got 150 in there of the monopoly money that he's developed it, and the banks crash down, and then he can only get 10,000 for it. Like nobody's gonna pay more than 10,000. See, he's just lost his fucking shirt. So he's kind of investing into greed and crime, and it's gonna come back and bite him in the ass. This is how I see it, because all of the money that he's putting in to try and screw other people over, when things tip right side up, which, I still say we're headed there. It's just slow as fuck. But when things tip over and go right side up, where things are the way they're supposed to be, he's fucked himself. So all of that stuff, and I think it will all stop. I don't think they're going to keep building. I mean, why are you going to go out and build a bunch of houses for people? It should be, and it should have always been, that we get to go out and buy land, and then we get to put up our own houses and put them where we want and the distance we want. And it should never be this sardine can piled on top of each other with someone telling us like, oh, selling us, garbage and trying to sell us resources. Because these houses they're making do not have a lifelong, like how you could go to other cities where there's 150-year-old houses still standing because the people actually did make them. There was actual craftsmanship. They actually took pride. They had integrity. It wasn't just some developer throwing up a house real quick and so to sell it to you for high dollar, So those houses, it's not going to last. And the houses that are 100 years old probably were $1,000, all the way back. It was just the stuff that they used to make them. And then over time, when people started trying to become greedy and sell things to each other and make money because they thought that was the only way they could get ahead, then, that's how we participated in the system. Instead of pulling free and going like, fuck you and fuck your system. I'll go live out in the jungle. I don't need your shit. But they created everybody to feel insecure about that side of themselves. that is like right now with their campaign. Work smarter, not harder, by laying on your ass on the couch and watching TV. That's the smartest thing you can do with your time and energy. Like, be smart. Lay on your couch. Get your vacuum to get your beer and lay there and watch TV. I just saw a commercial. There's this commercial everybody keeps showing. It's some Hulu commercial. I think it's from a few years ago, and stupid Alec Baldwin's in it. God, that guy makes me sick. And he is talking about TV and melting your brain and stuff like that. And then he becomes a reptilian and says that they are in control of our minds and stuff like that. It's like, huh, funny, huh? They do always disclose the truth. They're always telling us the truth. But we just, we fail to listen. Just like people fail to listen to the consciousness that is trying to communicate with you. But I was like, I told my daughter when she said that about her friend, I said, this is what I keep, everybody has the ability. I mean, some people have it more easy than other people, but everybody has the ability. It seriously is. Everything that is going on is seriously about becoming in balance, mind, body, spirit, getting control of your mind and opening your mind. It's so important about opening your mind because so many people's minds are so closed. Well, closed is limitations and you holding yourself back from seeing the truth, because open mind really is in communication. You really are open to what is around you when you open yourself up to that. But it really is something that you have to do. It is so much about reprogramming and stuff in this current reality because of all of the indoctrination and programming to keep us trapped in this slave world that they created. So anyways, let me think if there was something else. I think there was some more stuff, but I think I covered the biggest things I wanted to say. So anyways, just, keep working on yourself and but don't feel rushed or something. This is a development. It is actually doing the steps to get to where you want to be. It's not trying to jump like, oh, I want to be all healed now. Oh, I want to be all this now or whatever. It's the actual progression. It's the actual steps in learning. And that is what you are here to go through. You're not here to just jump, and skip all the steps. You're here to learn the steps. You're here to actually experience the steps to expansion, to understanding, to opening your mind, to reprogramming, to mastering your emotions. So all of those things are all things for us to be working on. And, recognizing, yesterday I was in there, I started to do some laundry, and all of a sudden I heard in my head something like, well, you should have done blah, blah, blah. I don't know what it was. It was something really stupid too, like, oh, you should have put in some, I don't know, dryer sheets or more dryer sheets or something. I don't remember what it was. It was something stupid like that. And then all of a sudden I caught myself and I said, I shouldn't have. There should never be where we're telling ourselves, oh, you should have done this. You should have done that. That is something that we've got to stop. That's where you got to recognize. You shouldn't. That should be totally taken out of our language, because you have every opportunity to learn. So you are learning. There's nothing about what you should or shouldn't have done. You are learning, you are growing, you are expanding. So don't create that limitation on yourself. You should have been better. You should have known before you knew. You should have understood before you understood. Like that is where you're being too hard on yourself, and you need to recognize that. And so, it is about recognizing your self-talk, recognizing how you look at things. Do you look at it like, oh, it's not going to work. It's never going to work. Nothing ever works. Or are you looking at it like, oh, I'm so excited. Like, this is exciting. Everything's going to turn out so great. Because that is you're directing the energy with your intention of what you are expecting, how you project, how you see yourself. So you see yourself as a winner. You see yourself as a loser who's going to struggle. And it is all in your programming. It is you having to notice like, oh my God, I always feel like I'm a loser. I'm always talking down on myself. I never feel good about myself. I always think somebody's got it better than me. Those are so perfect for you to recognize and to see. Those are your opportunity to then go in and change that and to start catching yourself like, oh, I just caught myself. I shouldn't have said that. Oh, I said it. See how easy? I shouldn't. We got, oh, I just know that is something we got to get out of our language. But I think there's so much, like I have different things that come to me all the time about new ways of communication, and we got to let go of a lot of words and stuff because it has been spells that have bound us to limitations, to keeping us limited, to keeping us less than what we are. And so anyways, every time that you get this opportunity to have a trigger and to go deeper and look at yourself deeper, that is healing old wounds. Every time that you catch yourself doing or saying or being somebody that you don't want to be, that's your opportunity to look at old wounds, to look at yourself, to catch yourself, to realize yourself, because you're developing yourself. You're actually developing your avatar. They want you to give it up. Like right now, I guess fucking Zuck's out there. Oh, I'm expecting 1 billion. They've got all this money invested. They put all this money in. Oh, I'm expecting 1 billion people to jump right on into that metaverse. It's like, not if I have any say over it. I'm going to be telling everybody, like, you're an avatar. Why would your avatar need to create another avatar? You got to focus on the avatar you are, not create a new one so that you can be a part of this sick system that will just continue to go down the toilet. Like it has nowhere. We want to go up. We want to ascend. We want to go up. We want to have experiences and incarnations that are not so trying all the time. Sometimes just being able to go out and, have some fun. But where people say like, oh, I would never do it again. That is not your attitude when you are a soul. When you are a soul, your attitude is you're a warrior and you will take on anything, and you know the challenges, but we have a little bit of ego, a little bit of arrogance. We think we can take on a lot more. When we get in here, it feels a lot harder. It's a lot more stressful. But believe you me, you made every single choice to come in here. You are contracted with all of the people that you encounter. You are a part of everything, and you can release everything when you start understanding that it's destiny and you're a projection, and you just start communicating with the person in charge. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.